back. We don't appear to have a mic in the Tom Baltel session in the main room because we've just broken out of Remit A. So we thought we'd come back because we've actually got another kind of audience development local from Reykjavik Co-working, where we went yesterday on Sunday and got absolutely soaked, and it wasn't open. But I sent them a tweet and an Instagram of us outside the building, and they sent me a message about 10 minutes ago, so they're on their way. Takeaway from today so far with you? I mean, I thought the Eve stuff was quite interesting in terms of audiences. I'm interested in asking that guy a question about will they ever get pressured to sell the data to companies for all those different gamer types?
I am interested to know if anyone's actually going to take something away with them that has inspired them to change the way they apply digital or approach the next audience they look to develop. Because I think it's one thing coming to these kind of events and you hear lots of talks, but it's only of any use if you either take back a contact that turns into a project or whether you take back a piece of knowledge. And I know some of the most influential conferences that I've actually attended are ones that have changed my perceptions of how I do business or how I practice what I do.
Yeah. Little nuggets of information that you go, actually, if I just did it that way, it might speed up things.
Yeah.
I think that last session in terms of crowds, I think it could have been a little bit less. It had loads of knowledge in there. A little bit concerned about some of the things he said in terms of, as a critical friend, about avoiding tax with Bitcoin. That's not strictly true. All transactions on the blockchain of Bitcoin are actually open and transparent. But like you said, rightly said, that there's no mechanism to search for those taxes. At the moment, there's no mechanism on which
but they are out there.
So
they'll
please,
find a way eventually.
Well, the thing is, I don't like the idea of somebody devaluing a new digital cryptocurrency before it gets its legs, because it sends the wrong message to society that there's this cryptocurrency that's come along and actually everybody's using it to hide tax, and that's not true. So I kind of just wanted to
it's got some great implications for artists
of course,
Bitcoin in terms of it being a direct mechanism and not having to wait for the bank to release money to go to a producer, which then goes to... It's instant.
I like the idea.
Peer-to-peer payments. So.
I like the idea of instant payments. I also like the idea that you can club together for that artist. An artist will probably end up getting more regular funds from it, actually, because it's like you say, it's instant transactions that you get via a little Bitcoin wallet. And
it's breakdown, isn't it?
And the audience could be involved with that as well. It could be like, oh, he was amazing or she was amazing and did that. We should, like a tip box almost.
And
like
someone can just do a very minute amount of Bitcoin, which although will do you nothing, for the artist, if that's happening worldwide, that can start to mount up.
Like a little slush fund.
How
are you, Rich? Are you coping?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
taking it all in.
Taking it all in. It's a lot. It's a whole new world to me. This is, I'm a sort of digital newbie. I'm keen, and this is all very stimulating. A lot of it's going over my head. I have to say.
Yeah. No, that's a fair comment.
But that's good, actually. Not that it's going over my head, but it's just because
there's fresh new stuff
it's new stuff that's going on, and there's new ideas and what have you. And a lot of this stuff that we're talking about here is about kind of socialising the ideas in people's minds. So some of the stuff that we've been talking about is fairly old ground, but it needs going over again because it's important. Some of it is really quite unfamiliar, difficult to see quite how it fits in our lives, in our professional lives, in cultural management terms, but it's kind of planting those ideas just the way, 20 years ago, we were kind of thinking, crikey, what's this internet? What's it going to do for us? Well, I mean, to be honest, it's just there. So I think, the value of some of these rather sort of forward-looking, slightly off-the-wall ideas that we've had coming to us is that it's just kind of, as I say, socialising new thinking, new ideas, and that's terrific.
Yeah. No, I thought was interesting. I wanted to come for the EVE Online stuff, and I know that you were kind of like gamer audiences. I'm not quite sure of that, but they do bring in a huge amount of money in terms of monthly revenue for subscription model that they have. But also for me, I want to start looking at that in terms of disrupting that group of gamers. You have people sitting in front of screens and monitors playing this game, for hours on end in clans and groups. And people who wouldn't normally socialise are now socialising because of this game that exists. But I also think it's an opportunity to actually, while they're attentive and they're actually focused on that, while they're creating action in the online world, we should be able to influence them to do the same thing in real life. How can we influence that audience of gamers who are so devoted to each other in the game? How can we have a real world tangible side to it as well? So if I don't know, acquire a ship, can collectively it take a certain amount of money off all of us in that clan and go towards some kind of food project or some kind of like violence against in relationships, so that people can start to socialise indirectly. I think that's powerful. I don't think we're looking at that.
Well, that's an interesting perspective. The other thing I was thinking about with the kind of gaming paradigm, if you like, which is we tend to kind of think, oh gosh, these gamers, they're just kind of sad nerds sitting at home, till 3 o'clock in the morning, when actually they should be getting some sleep and going out and doing stuff. On the other hand, listen, people sit at home on their own till 3 o'clock in the morning reading books.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So it's not such a different kind of experience. It's a different sort of media.
Right.
The other thing is that obviously those gamers are sitting online doing that stuff, interacting, and it's proving the point that it's a very easy and enjoyable thing for people to sit and engage with something online. So in terms of orchestras, cultural practice, theatre, whatever. What's wrong with making the imaginative leap for cultural institutions, cultural producers to start tapping into that market?
I absolutely think
because
so.
there's old people and there's young people reading, there's gamers, there's people doing all kinds of stuff online, chat rooms and all the rest of it. We're spending hours and hours online. Now listen, the cultural sector. Are we running with that revolution? Well, sort of, but we need to start. It's happening, and it's changing the way we think. It's changing the way we behave, and the way we socialise and interact.
I was
going to
say,
well, we might as well just accept that that's going to happen, and it's
there's
there.
The participatory aspect that often concerns me with the way audience development is driven in terms of sort of trendy new young audiences. Going all the way back to vaudeville and music hall, there's been this notion of audience participation. Just the MC who says all the long words and all the audience go woo. With pantomime, where you've got the backwards and forwards of calling, and then I've started to see in some arts projects where they use audience or participants as guinea pigs to experience their art. And sometimes in the art, I'm not quite sure if the artist is exploiting the audience or whether they're actually providing an experience, or whether it's using the audience experience to fuel their own vanity. And that concerns me sometimes, where I've seen some I've seen some interactive pieces and some transmedia pieces where they've used computer programs to generate titles and scenarios where it's not being monitored, and although it's been created prior to the events, you get people engaging in a way that they think they're talking to a real person, where in actual fact it's just a process that's going on. Or they're asked...
We're being told that the next room is on, so we're going to go there.
Oh, we are going to go over there now.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, CJ. See you shortly.